What's going on YouTube? So the Subaru Forester has been a very popular model for a long time for the Subaru brand, and it's actually now on its 6th generation. This is the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester. Now on this channel, we gave you guys an in-depth look at the top touring model. It has a lot of new technology features, but today we wanted to also take a look at the premium trim level. So this is the best-selling version in the Forester lineup and the one that you're most likely to see in your garage. So what do you get? Let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's begin up here in the front. Now, obviously with this new generation, the Forester has a new look, and they've toughened it up a lot compared to the last one and made it look a lot more wide. So that starts with the grille, of course. This kind of extends all the way out across the entire front of the vehicle into the headlight unit now with this new generation. And here in the premium trim, this is gonna have a gray finish. They've give you different finishes depending on which version you get. It's going to be gray here with the premium trim level. And then let's talk about the headlights. Very premium for this premium trim. So you still have the full projector LED headlight with adaptive abilities. I'm very impressed about that. You also have the cool looking daytime running light up top. The only thing that's different from the Touring is actually just this turn signal is going to be incandescent instead of LED. You'll also still find the LED fog lights down here at the bottom, and you'll still get 8.7 inches of ground clearance. Now moving on to the wheels, you do have a 17-inch contrast alloy wheel. Now I recognize you may not actually be able to tell what this looks like right now because this has been off-roading, obviously. We'll go on and insert a picture of what they look like when they are clean, but they're actually pretty good looking since you do have that contrast design. You continue to also, of course, have the signature Subaru cladding, although I will say it is toned down versus what you get on something like an Outback or a Crosstrek. Coming up to the mirrors, the same gray finish from the grille is applied up here as well. Heating is going to be standard on this trim level, and blind spot monitoring is going to cost an additional charge if you want that feature.
Now here at the side of the all-new Forester, you are going to find an all-new look, and it's grown about 1.2 inches over the previous generation. It's coming in at an overall length of 183.3 inches. Now, I do want to talk about a few different things when it comes to the design. First of all, new for 2025, you have this cool symmetrical all-wheel drive badge. It kind of gives you a little bit of a floating roof effect, so if you like that, you will like that on this. And that also insinuates that you do have standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, even on this base premium. Now, also on this premium trim level, we have raised roof rails. That's going to be a little bit different than some of the other trim levels, but I am very happy to see that you do get roof rails as standard equipment. Now, as we head around to the rear design of this all-new Forester, we're once again going to find an all-new look. That being said, it still does have a lot of those signature Subaru elements, so you'll definitely recognize this as a Forester. So in terms of what you're going to get, we have an integrated spoiler up top. We also have an exposed rear wiper. This piece right through the middle is always going to be finished in a black color, and we have Forester spelled out across the back. Now, in terms of your taillights, these are going to be the same as every other Forester model. So we have an all-new design. It's going to have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and an incandescent turn signal indicator. So 2 out of 3 elements as LED is pretty good for this segment. As we drop down below, this is all a matte black. We have an exposed exhaust outlet here on the right side. And Subaru wasn't exactly clear about the tow rating on this model. However, we expect it to be around 1,500 pounds. Now, another great aspect about this premium trim level of the Forester is that you're going to have all of your safety systems as standard equipment. That's actually standard on every version of the Forester this year. And not only that, for 2025, we are going to see some updates. They've actually added a third camera to the windshield to improve all of the safety systems functionality, and that goes for every single model. Now, additionally, they also have added an emergency stop function that will stop the vehicle if you become unresponsive while driving. But guys, that's going to be it for the exterior design of this premium Forester. Let's see what value you get on the inside. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so we've seen what the exterior has to offer, but more importantly, let's see what the interior has. So first of all, we do actually have smart entry. That is standard starting at this premium trim level. This is the typical Subaru key fob, and all you got to do is just reach behind the handle. That will unlock the door. And then looking inside, of course, we have a new design for the Forester model. It definitely borrows a lot from its siblings inside of the Subaru lineup. And let's start by talking about the seats in terms of our interior. So on this premium trim level, we are going to get a premium cloth trim. As you can see, we've got a lot of different textures and color combinations kind of going on here, so it keeps it visually interesting. Through the center section, I don't really know how to describe this cloth, but it feels pretty soft overall, and I like the stitching details. The seat itself is also going to be power adjusting with two-way lumbar support, just like the higher end trim levels. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that I'm fully inside, let's go ahead and look at the overall cabin materials. Now, of course, this premium is not going to be quite as nice as the fully loaded Touring, but it is still nicely done. So over here on our door trim, we have a nice leatherette area. It's nicely padded as well. The same cloth from the seats is going to be in the center section, and then a soft touch along the top. As you move to the upper dashboard, you are going to have a soft touch plastic on these panels, and then these hoods are going to be hard touch plastic. You have a leatherette trim running through here with that same kind of pattern actually from the Touring model, and you have a color contrast stitching detail. Down below, I'm actually surprised to find that we've got leatherette trim that actually runs through here for our knees to rest against, and overall everything in here feels extremely solid and well put together. Now to start it up, we have push button start. Now we'll go ahead and get into some of the individual details. So we'll go to our gauge cluster first off. This is pretty much the same gauge cluster you get on all the Subaru models. So you've got that 4.2-inch multi-function display in the middle, and it is analog on the outside edges. Now, unlike the previous generation, you don't have that separated 6-inch display over here on top. That's now going to be integrated into the main display, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Now, in terms of our steering wheel, this is still going to be a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel with piano black accents. Steering wheel heating is not available on the premium, but you do still have manual tilt and telescoping abilities. Turning over here to our center console, leatherette on the top of it. Really nice amount of storage because this is quite deep, and there is still a felt lining down there at the bottom. You got your two cup holders in this new diagonal arrangement. And then up in the front, you'll probably notice and be surprised by the fact that we have a wireless phone charging pad. That is actually standard equipment on this premium trim level and new to the Forester for 2025. Now, as far as our shifter is concerned, it's not going to be leather covered like it is in the Touring, but operation, of course, is still the same. You don't have any paddle shifters, though, on the steering wheel for simulated gear shifting. When we go into reverse, this will just be our regular backup camera. As you can see, you do have active trajectory on board as well. And I don't believe this model has parking sensors. And then there's your electronic parking brake. Now, let's kind of just move into this whole area and start to talk about this. So you'll notice, even though this is the premium, the affordable trim level, you still have that giant 11.7-inch display on board. It's very big. It contains a lot of information, like I was saying, multifunction information there, your main infotainment through there, and then your climate control down at the bottom. Now, it is a dual zone automatic climate setup, and you can adjust the temperature with the physical controls, or you can also do it inside the display. I also want to point out that we have 3-stage heated seats as well. You also have a volume knob there for your audio system. This version is going to come with the 6-speaker sound system. And then in terms of the infotainment system, the important thing that I think a lot of you guys want to know about is, do I have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay? Yes, you do. That has now been added to the Forester model. Previously, that was unavailable with that previous infotainment system. You do now have that on board. Now moving above, of course, you just have a manual dimming mirror because this is a more affordable trim level. But this has always been something that really surprised me. The previous generation was the same way. Everything except for the very base model comes with this, let's call it kind of panoramic sunroof. It's really not a full panoramic, but it's also quite a bit bigger than a regular sunroof as well, and the whole entire thing opens up.
Now let's talk about the all-new Forester's rear seat area. Now in this regard, I'm very happy that this remains very similar to the outgoing Forester model, because the outgoing Forester always had a nice rear seat, and I'm sure Forester owners that are looking to trade to this one certainly will appreciate that it's mostly the same. In terms of the overall space figures, we're looking at 39.4 inches of legroom, 39.6 inches of headroom. That is very close to the previous generation model, and it does also place it at the very upper end of the segment in terms of, RAV4 and CRV and those main competitors. Now, here at Car Confections, we do a thing called the knee measure test. So we have a seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9" for reference, and we want to see how much knee room we have. In this case, we're looking at about 9 inches of additional knee space, and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. One thing I want to point out, though, is that the seats do not recline, so do keep that in mind. That kind of rhymes. Now, as far as the features are concerned, we do have vents, which I'm very happy to see. Drops down from the Touring to the premium trim level. We also have 2 USB-C ports. You're going to miss out on heated rear seats, but I don't think you expected that. And then here in the center console, we do have 2 cup holders inside. The door trim is going to be nicely done. Hard touch on the upper part, but we have cloth all through the center section, and we have a leatherette on the armrest portion. Additionally, you do have quite a bit of door storage. Now, walking up to the tailgate of the Forester, we do have a new feature for 2025, and it is available on this premium trim level. We've actually selected that option package. I believe it's around $1,200, and that's going to get you the power tailgate as well as the blind spot monitoring Drew was mentioning earlier, but it is now hands-free this year, so that's a new feature. So just kick under the bumper to open it up. It may be obscured just because of all the dirt and grime. As you can see, this vehicle did quite a bit of off-roading earlier today, but that is a new feature this year. Now, as far as the space is concerned in this Forester model, we're sitting at around 27 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. As a maximum, you're looking at 69 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Those are very good figures, very similar to the outgoing model and very similar to stuff like the Toyota RAV4 if you're cross-shopping the two. As far as features are concerned, we do have a 12-volt outlet here in the back. I am noticing, though, these switches to fold the 60-40 split folding seats are gone for this premium trim level, so you will have to kind of reach up here, grab that little nub, and then that's going to fold the seat down, although I'm not that tall and I can easily reach it, so that's not too big of a deal. Now, as far as the overall cargo length, that's something that we like to measure here at Car Confections. From the driver's seat, like I said, adjusted to someone who's 5'8", we're sitting at 72 inches of overall cargo length. From behind the second row to the end of the cargo area, 36 inches. As far as the overall opening, 45 inches wide. And then as far as the overall cargo height, 32 inches tall. So get all those measures in case you're looking to haul something specific. That is very helpful. And then underneath of the cargo floor, you do have a spare tire on this Forester. It's under quite a few different layers, but just take my word for it. We saw it earlier today. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester, this time in the premium trim level, and we can't wait to show you all that this vehicle has to offer. As you can see, we'll be discussing these things on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading.
Yeah, we want to know, does the extra sound deadening that Subaru claims, does that also apply to the premium trim as well as the Touring? We'll find out. But first, we need to do a hard acceleration.
All right, and there is 60 miles per hour in the all-new Forester Premium. Now, when it comes to the powertrain of this vehicle, that's not going to change as much as the rest of the product. That's not to say there are no changes, but we're still going to have the 2.5-liter Boxer 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It's going to be making 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque, which does mean you're down 2 horsepower over the previous generation and up 2 pound-feet of torque. So that's kind of your fun fact, but in essence, it's exactly the same as the 2024 Forester model in terms of performance. It's pretty good. We've driven it many different times. It's very class competitive. It's certainly not going to knock your socks off, but it's good enough to get this vehicle up to 60 reasonably fast for most buyers in this segment.
Yeah, Subaru said they did revise the torque curve a little bit for more torque at lower RPMs. Weird elevation I do want to point out. So we have thin air. It is going to appear slower on camera here than versus what you would experience at sea level. But this is going to be, probably a little slower than some of the main competition, especially if you're talking like a hybridized model where you have electric components at play or something turbocharged.
And speaking of hybridized, one of the really big elements about this all-new Forester is that there will be a hybrid. Now, Subaru has not said much about this, other than really confirming that it will happen, and they are going to say it's around a year out, so you could maybe expect it for a 2026 model year Forester to have that hybrid option. So if you're really itching to have the hybridization, maybe a little bit more power, you could maybe wait until next model year and see if the hybrid comes out, but we certainly look forward to giving you as many details on that as possible when it becomes available.
Right, but for now, this is the only powertrain.
There's 60 on a little bit of a flatter surface. Now, as you can see from that acceleration, we do have a CVT on board. That's for all versions of the Forester. And as you can see, performance is pretty good. Although, under hard accelerations, you're certainly going to know that you have a CVT. More importantly, though, and I'm sure all of you guys that like Subarus will already know this, symmetrical all-wheel drive is standard equipment on all versions of this model. So even the base trim level, one rung below this, would get standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and that's a full-time all-wheel drive setup, which is different than a lot of the competition. So certainly a big benefit for those of you choosing the Forester over some of the competition.
And we haven't really talked about it much up to this point, but of course Forester is known for having some nice off-road capability baked in, and you are still going to have the ability on the premium trim to go into your X mode, activate that. That's going to help you off-road. In addition to that 8.7 inches of ground clearance I mentioned when talking about the exterior.
All right. Now that we're just kind of getting up to speed here, let's go ahead and get our sound level reading. We'll put it on fan speed 1, going 55 miles per hour. Slow it down a little bit more.
Alright, looks like it's not going to go any lower than 59.9 decibels.
Now, it's worth noting for that sound level reading, we are here in Montana on a media drive, so this is not our home stretch of road, so it's not official, but we did drive a Forester touring model earlier. That tested out even quieter than that. I believe it was around 56 decibels. And one of the things Subaru really bragged about for this all-new 2025 model is that they've really increased the sound deadening, and they focused on making sure you had a quiet cabin. And just kind of sitting in here, I don't know about you, Drew, but it does seem pretty quiet overall.
Yeah, I think they definitely made some improvements in this area for sure.
And if you want to check out all of our sound level readings, you can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. We posted all the cars that we reviewed, not just the Forester Touring, but all of the other vehicles in this competitive segment.
Now, we spent ample time today both cruising down the highway and also some time off-road as well. And I have to say, in both those scenarios, this Forester has really kept us very comfortable with its ride quality. This has always been a big focus of the Forester, and the new generation carries that on. So as you're going down the road, everything is nice and smooth. It's really isolating out the bumps quite nicely. Subaru also improved the seats for 2025. They changed the bolstering and the overall level of comfort. I would agree it has been improved there as well. But no review would be complete without doing our Airball and Slam Dunk. So, for the Slam Dunk, we're going to say is just the value-packed package of this premium trim level. They absolutely nailed this. Prices of vehicles have just been going through the roof recently, but you get so many premium features here with the premium trim level that you really wouldn't even expect, and it definitely exceeds that of what you get on rivals at the equivalent price point.
Now, on the Airball side of things, we are a little bit disappointed in one aspect. The fact that blind spot monitoring is not standard on all versions of the Forester. You actually have to option it on to this premium, and as much as Subaru preaches about safety and, it's in all their advertisements and stuff, we find blind spot monitoring to be a safety feature. So, especially if you choose that base model, it's not available at all. So we really wish Subaru had given that on all versions of the Forester.
And lastly here, let me go ahead and just tell you what the fuel economy is. The EPA rates this at 26 city, 33 highway, 29 combined, which is very similar to what most all-wheel drive rivals offer.
Now, the main reason you probably watched this video was because of the affordability of this premium trim level. So let's talk about the price. $31,995 is the base price for the premium trim level, which does mean that it's about around $2,000 more expensive than that base trim level. I do think that this is a much better buy than that base model because you are getting a ton more equipment with the premium. Now, of course, you are also saving quite a lot of money over something like a fully loaded Touring. It's around $8,000 less expensive. Now, this particular tester, we have the one option package on it. So once you add in destination and all those things, you can expect to pay about $34,000 for an example like you see here. Now, if you're looking to buy a Subaru Forester or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that connects you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. There's also a pinned comment at the top of this video. Now it's time for us to talk about potential resale and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, let's talk about resale value. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Forester's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years, this Forester will be worth 63% of its original MSRP and 23.7% after 10 years. Now, it's worth noting that is a very high 5-year resale value. As a matter of fact, it's actually ranked as number 3. It's only behind Honda and Toyota, so very impressive 5-year resale value percentage.
We've also done the same for potential reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. It combines reliability data from a lot of different sources to make one overall composite score. On this metric, Subaru is ranked above average. It's actually the 6th best of all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to check out all of our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, and you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Well, guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the 2025 all-new Subaru Forester Premium. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By hitting that subscribe button, you're joining in on this Car Confections family. We do a lot of car content that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible, and you certainly helped get us invited to come out to beautiful Montana to be one of the first people to check out this all-new Forester. So thank you for that. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.